Welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate everybody who decides to watch the videos, and I certainly appreciate any comments. I certainly enjoy when you like my videos. So I try to bring something new to the table as much as I can. So here we have a black leather box. So you may ask, why do I have this black leather box? Well, besides fountain pens, my other passion, one of my other passions is tennis. So when I get an opportunity to combine those two together, I say absolutely. So I happened to be watching Graham Mia Pens video, and Steph did a review on this pen, and I go, let me see if I can get one. Of course, I went to my favorite place to shop, eBay, and there were a few of them that had auctions on them, and this one sold at a very reasonable price. I was very happy about it. It's not the original box, but that's not, as you know, my focus. As we open it up, we'll see the lid doesn't really stay up nicely. We'll see a certificate. It's sealed, so I haven't opened it up. So this is a limited release. It's number 1948 of 1954, celebrating 50 years of tennis. And there's a signature of the president of Cross. There's the International Tennis Hall of Fame and Cross. So they got together. They gave away this pen to some of the people that have been inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame. But this one is very nice. I don't have a Cross box that's similar. You have your polishing cloth. They give you some cartridges, so that's good. But let's really take a look at what the focus is. It's the pen. So the first thing that strikes you is this amazing clip, which is made to look like a tennis racket, and there's a Swarovski crystal there to represent a tennis ball. It's tastefully done. This is a heavy pen. It is metal, sterling, the whole bit. The design on the barrel end cap is just a series of tennis rackets, which is nice. Nothing in the finial. So this is a normal level of tarnish that you would see after the pen has sat for a while. I haven't written with this, so that's not anything from the hands that have started it. Because even if we look at the side of the clip, we'll see that they put little notches in to represent where the string would go. So I'm happy with the pen. I paid a good price for it. It's a pull-off cap like a lot of Townsend's do, which I think this is part of its basis. An 18-karat nib that's plated to look like sterling. Your standard grip, which is knurled, which is a metal grip I haven't seen on Cross pens. But the other thing that makes it nice is you have the number engraved on the section along with a bunch of hallmarks to indicate the quality of the sterling. This is a comfortable pen to hold unposted. There is a nice liner inside the cap which supports posting, and it posts deeply like all Cross pens that are this type of design, like I call it the Townsend look. And it feels okay, the balance is okay. Like I said, it's not a light pen, so I would probably write with this unposted. If we unscrew it, we'll see a standard Cross converter, which works well. Nothing spectacular about it, but just well made. I'm never a fan of this colored section. Like it to just be clear so you could see the ink and the color of the ink. And there's plastic threads inside there, so you have metal on plastic, which I think makes for a more satisfying experience and also lets you kind of torque it down just right. So that's the pen, and I'm impressed with it. We're going to compare it to some other Townsends, and we'll put nib to paper. Here we have the Cross tennis pen in relation to a Cross Townsend. So Cross Townsend I've had for probably over 20 years. It was a daily carry for me for, I'd say, almost a year. I enjoyed the pen. They're about the same length and amazingly about the same weight. So that's surprising to me, but this is a higher end pen. It has an 18 karat gold nib. And this is more of a standard Townsend with a 14 karat gold nib. Cross has always been good at, making the nibs attractive from design and scroll work viewpoint. And these two are no exception. And the section is actually much longer on the tennis pen. So they did make a significant amount of changes in the tennis pen relative to the Townsend series. When we compare the nibs up close, we'll see that the tennis pen actually has a smaller nib than the normal Townsend nib, but both of them are quite attractive in that unique design that they put on the tennis pen certainly distinguishes that nib from the standard Cross nibs. I expect it to write extremely smooth like every Cross nib I've ever had writes. And I put them in the same perspective as the Parker Dual Folds of the new generation and any of the high-end Waterman pens. They've always been exceptionally good writers. Looking at the feeds, we'll see just a typical plastic feed. Looks like both of these, I'd say, are medium tipping material on there. But the feeds have always worked well in all the Cross pens that I've ever had, so I expect the same from the tennis pen. Here we are with some comparisons to the Pelikan M800, Jinhao X750, and a Pilot Metropolitan. Let's line it up a little bit better. The Cross pen is the longest pen of this group, and generally the Townsend pen is on the long side, over 5.5 inches. The M800 is a big pen. Most people consider it more for the girth than the length, and so is the X750. Let's take a look at the writing end and we'll see more differences. Here we are with them uncapped, and again the Cross pen is the longest pen of the group. But as we focus in on the writing and the nib end, we'll see the major differences. I had to swap out the X750 I had, so this is the Bulow, which is the same as the 750, but the 750 I had shown you was a rollerball one. This is where I think the Cross pen falls a little short from a visual perspective. It is the smallest nib of this group. It's about the size of the nib in the Metropolitan. Certainly not like this larger, close to a number 6 size that you have in the Pelikan and the Bulow or Jinhao. Sections are kind of different from all these 4 pens, so that's one of the things to keep in mind. But let's see how that nib works. As we all know, size isn't everything. So what ink to put in? No ink called out to me, so I grabbed one that I haven't used very much, this Diamine Teal ink. When I flushed the pen, it had phenomenal flow, so I expect the nib to be a very wet writer. Here's the color card. A very dark teal, a very dark green. Not certain how much of that blue you're going to see, but one of the more interesting chromatographies I've ever done. So this is back to that high-grade filter paper, and I let it run for a couple minutes, and that certainly did have some phenomenal separation. But I don't really see much green here, but I do see the yellow and blue, so that could create the green component, but that just is very interesting. Let's see how it translates to when you put ink on paper. Yes, it's a writer's pen, and because of that, just you can pull off the cap with just your hands. As I mentioned, I'm going to write with this unposted because I think that's better. No reason to put the cap on the pen. I mean, this nib just gushes. I mean, lays down a lot of ink. Nice letter writing pen. This may not have been the best choice of ink for this pen. I think I would have chose a lighter ink if I was to do this again. When I flush it out and put a new ink in, that's definitely what I'll try. But overall, this is just a classic cross nib. I mean, it writes in any direction, the same feedback in any direction. I don't usually do reverse, but let's see what reverse is, and reverse works very well. You know, so if you want a finer line, you could flip it over. So I know crosses are not exactly the grail pens of most people, but to me as an everyday daily writer, they're as good as anything. They are a little bit on the expensive side, I think, but it's an extremely well-made pen, a lot of metal components in it, and from my use of the pens, they last forever. Very dependable. So that's what's really good. So hopefully you've enjoyed a look at a pen you may never have known existed. And now that you know that it exists, you may not care, but I do. And it is certainly a unique pen among my pens. And that knurling of the grip is just a nice little touch that Cross does that gives you a good place to put your fingers. And I like that little flare out at the bottom. You can hold it anywhere. If you want to hold it up far away from the nib, you can. There's a little step up there, but it's nothing that you feel. So I really hate to rate this pen because it has kind of no comparisons, but I'm going to go out on a limb and give it a 9.8. Yeah, it's tennis, and yeah, I love tennis, and how could I not rate the pen high? But it lays down great ink. It writes well. It feels good in the hand, even though it's sterling silver, which is not my preferred pen material. But you have to admit that it does have a certain beauty to it. And I could polish it up a little bit, but I like a little patina on my sterling. So thank you for watching. And following me on the journey to explore pens of all types, from all places, primarily because I enjoy using different writing instruments to put my thoughts on paper. So we've reached the end of this video. May you enjoy all your writing experiences. May they bring pleasure into your life, improve your life, and allow you to share your thoughts with others. So until the next time, bye for now. It is one wet writer.